Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The hour is upon us, and we will begin. At this time, I would ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and following our invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you join me in prayer, please? Father, we pause to thank you for the gift of this day and for your gifts of life, health, and strength. Our sympathy is extended to those that have lost loved ones in recent days, and we are mindful of those that are dealing with the challenging issues of life. We ask for your hand of comfort, your gift of peace to be with all affected. We pray for all citizens that are providing service to their fellow man, whether local or abroad, whether military or public service. We pray for their efforts to be successful and at the end of their duty for their safe return to their family. We pray for the health and healing of our nation, our state, and our community, and all of those that have an influence on history. Tonight, as we conduct the business of our city, we ask that our thoughts and actions be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Stripling.
Here.
Counselor Jackson.
Here.
Counselor Brown.
Here.
Counselor Starnes.
Here.
Counselor Cables.
Here.
Counselor Strichick. Counselor Boone.
Here.
Call the meeting to order. The character trait of the month is discipline, choosing behaviors to help me reach my goals. At this time, the chair will call for the approval of the minutes of the public hearing and the city council meeting held January the 3rd, 2017.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by like sign. Motion carried. At this time, we'll entertain comments from those present concerning tonight's agenda. Is anyone present that would like to speak on anything on our agenda this evening? Seeing none, I'll call for a report from the mayor. Yes, sir.
I'd like to introduce two new sergeants. See, they do have a good-sized family. I guess I might need to ask Officer Ashley before I give them the sergeant's badge. Are you planning on running for mayor or city council? Or, but being serious, I'd like to thank your family. I know you've gone through a lot of hard work to make it to this point in time, but you didn't do it by yourself. You had your family's support behind you. I know you had a lot of support from your Blue family also, and I know you've had a lot of hard work to get to this point in time. And traditionally, I'm supposed to open this up and stick it all the way in, just about 2 inches worth right there. But I'll just and would like to offer the microphone to you if you'd like to say a few words.
That's it.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Officer Shanks and family. You have also been a very dedicated city employee. I want to thank your family, your Blue family, and your regular family. And again, you didn't get here by yourself. You have been a very positive asset. How long have you worked with the city of Prattville now?
It's been almost
Okay, I know I've been seeing you here and there for the last 6, 7 years or so. But I want to thank you and your family for all your hard work and dedication. As I mentioned before, not only your regular family, but your work family also. And there's been a lot of I know blood, sweat, and tears from everybody here to get you to this point, and I certainly appreciate everybody's hard work. And I think I'll just hand this one to you. Okay. Well, again, Chief, thank you. Just want to introduce these new sergeants to the council here. You know, like I mentioned there before, a lot of hard work on their part, a lot of hard work from our chief, our captains, and also the families there. But it's all paying off, and Prattville is a lot better. You know, over this weekend, we've had some really good weather for this time of year, and spent some time at some of the various parks, and it was really good to see a lot of citizens out enjoying the parks that we have, and I think one of the reasons why they're doing that is because it is safe. Might just take a little pause right here. Let some of the blue team and family move out. But as I was mentioning, the weekend was great. I want to thank the Autauga Improvement Committee for putting on the Martin Luther Dr. King Parade, and it was a great success, good turnout, and good way to honor a man who's helped move our country forward. But Mr. President, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone present on the dais have a question of the mayor?
Thank you.
Thank you. This time we'll move into a report on special committees. Councilor Jackson?
No, sir.
Councilor Brown?
No, sir.
Councilor Starnes?
No, sir.
Councilor Cables?
No, sir.
Councilor Stritchett?
No, sir.
Councilor Boone?
Yes, sir. I have a Parks and Recreation report. The Parks and Recreation Committee met on Friday and had a discussion with an update on what is going on in Matt Gray Park area and that project which is upcoming, and we hope to see great things and dirt moved before long, and a discussion of the possibility of adding to the bike trail system, which we hope to see coming to Prattville at some point, and how and where we might begin to do that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will have a report from the finance director.
Everyone should have a copy of the financial packet in front of them, and just as a reminder, all the balances presented on these schedules and statements are unaudited numbers. The first page in the packet is the general fund revenue report, which includes all revenues for the general fund other than debt proceeds. We have received $6,155,226 year-to-date through December, and this is up 5.72% year-to-date when compared to the same period in the prior year. Next page in the packet is the tax breakdown comparison. On the tax side alone, we were up 4.82% for the month over the previous December. Next 3 pages in the packet show the general fund expenses for the month broken down by department, and we are currently 25% through the fiscal year. If you look on the bottom of the 3rd page, you'll see that we have only spent 22.8% of our budgeted expenditures for the year. So this shows that the departments have done a very nice job of keeping their expenses down through the first quarter. Next fund in the packet is the Wastewater Enterprise Fund income statement. The wastewater fund generated a net income of $219,239 for the month of December. Expenses are also coming in well under budget through the first 3 months of the fiscal year. Next page in the packet is the Sanitation Enterprise Fund income statement. and the sanitation fund had a net loss of $58,252 for the month. And this was due primarily to higher operating supplies costs related to some garbage cans that were purchased, and the total for those cans was about $52,000. The expenses overall are also coming in under budget for this fund for the first 3 months. Next page in the packet is the Judicial Special Revenue Fund income statement. We have a net loss of $11,327 for the month in this fund. However, expenses are also under budget for the judicial fund through the first 3 months, which is positive. The next 3 statements in your packet are only presented quarterly and comprise the Gas Tax Fund, Capital Projects Fund, and Group Health Fund income statements. The first page there is the Gas Tax Special Revenue Fund income statement, and you'll see it's presented with October, November, and December balances. The gas tax revenue is coming in above the budgeted amount to date, which is a good sign. And the budgeted projects for this fund have not really begun in earnest to this point, so there are very few expenses so far. Next page is the Capital Projects Fund income statement. The main activity in this fund so far relates to the Beth Manor Mar Court Drainage Project, and the other projects that are budgeted in this fund have not incurred many expenses to date either. The next page in the packet is the Group Health Fund income statement, and we're watching this fund very closely to ensure that there are adequate funds available to cover the group health cost each month. An increase in contributions from the other funds that participate in the plan was put in place at the beginning of this fiscal year from the prior year, and we're monitoring that activity to make sure and determine if any additional increases may be needed down the road. The next page in the packet is the bank balances report, and this shows that the total of all bank balances citywide was $19,082,932 at the end of December. And the final page in your financial packet is the citywide accounts payable and debt balances report. And the total outstanding AP and debt balance at the end of December was $38,418,655.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Oakley concerning the information he has presented? Thank you. Job well done. This time we will move ahead. We have an opportunity to build a consent agenda. For those of you that have an agenda, there will be a slight change from what may be printed in your agenda for this evening. At this time, we have the opportunity to add resolution number 1, which is to surplus various IT equipment from the Information Technology Department. Resolution number 3, to reject all bids for bid number 16-015A for a sidewalk project servicing the Prattville Elementary and Prattville Intermediate Schools. Resolution number 4, to authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Crappie Masters Incorporated to co-sponsor a 2-day crappie tournament to be held May 5th and 6th, 2017, with the city providing in-kind services. Chair will entertain a motion to place these items on the consent agenda. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor of placing resolution 1, 3, and 4 on the consent agenda, consent by raising your right hand. All opposed by like sign, motion carries. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda, being resolution 1, 3, and 4.
So moved.
We have a motion to adopt the consent agenda. Do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any discussion on these three items? All those in favor of adopting the consent agenda signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by like sign, motion carries. At this time, we will take up the item of resolution number 2 that was originally placed on the consent agenda. It is my belief that we need to introduce this resolution before we can amend it. So at this time, I would ask Councilor Starnes to introduce the full, complete resolution.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Prattville, Alabama has certain items of personal property which are no longer needed for public or municipal purposes, and whereas Section 1143-56 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended authorizes the municipal governing body to dispose of unneeded personal property. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama that the following personal property owned by the City of Prattville, Alabama is no longer needed for public or municipal purposes, and said property shall be removed from the inventory of the Police Department. 2001 Chevrolet Impala, car number 08-404. 2009 Chevrolet Impala, car number 08-409. One Cellbrite mobile data system model, UFED system B16, serial number 5601711. One Alcomate Prestige breath alcohol tester with plastic tubes model AL6000. 50 Blackhawk nylon double magazine pouch for SIG P320 weapon. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville instructs the mayor to sell said vehicles and equipment through govdeals.com, and the proceeds be deposited into the general fund. If said surplus items are determined to be of no value, the mayor has authority to scrap or dispose of said items for and on behalf of the City of Prattville. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Before we move forward, the chair will entertain a motion to delete line item 23. We have a motion to delete item 23, line item 23. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. We will vote on the amendment to delete line item 23. All in favor of deleting line item 23 signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. Line item 23 has been deleted from the resolution. At this time, the chair will entertain is there any further discussion on this resolution? Hearing none. This time, the chair calls for a vote. All those in favor of adopting the resolution signify by saying or raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. Resolution has been adopted. At this time, we will move into our regular agenda. Resolution item number 1, to release funds for the purchase of one 2017 Dodge R1500 vehicle from Tallahassee Automotive Incorporated through state contract T191/4013404 for the police department at a cost not to exceed $26,740. Councilor Starnes, will you introduce this resolution?
Yes, sir. Whereas there is a need for one Dodge 2017 R1500 vehicle in the police department, whereas said vehicle is available from Tallahassee Automotive Incorporated through state contract T191/4013404 at the cost not to exceed $26,740. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that said funds in the amount not to exceed $26,740 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to Tallahassee Automotive Incorporated, and funds are approved and appropriated from fiscal year 2017 budget federal drug proceeds. So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Chair calls for a vote. All those in favor of its adoption signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. Resolution is carried. Resolution number 2, set a public hearing to zone property located in Glenbrook subdivision Phase 5 to R3, single-family residential. Councilor President Pro Tem Brown, would you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas David and Larry Avant are the owners of the property described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B, and whereas the property to be zoned is not located inside the city limits, and whereas the petitioners have initiated the process to annex the property described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B into the corporate limits of the city of Prattville, and whereas the petitioners wish to zone the property to R3 single-family residential, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed zoning was held by the Prattville Planning Commission on December 15, 2016, and whereas the City of Prattville Planning Commission did recommend the zoning of said property be amended as described in Attachment A and Attachment B to R3 single-family residential upon completion of the requested annexation. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that a public hearing is set for February 21st, 2017 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at City Hall. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any discussion on this resolution? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising right hand. All opposed by like sign. The resolution is carried. Councilor Brown, will you introduce the ordinance?
Yes, sir. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows. That the zoning ordinance of the City of Prattville, Alabama, adopted on February 10, 1950, subsequently amended from time to time, and the zoning map adopted on the first day of May, 1987, are hereby amended to reclassify the property described in Attachment A and displayed in Attachment B as R3 single-family residential, and that this proposed ordinance was advertised for 2 weeks in the Prattville Progress, a newspaper of general circulation within the city limits of the City of Prattville, and that the City Council of the City of Prattville, at its public hearing on the 21st day of February 2017 at 6 p.m., considered said proposed ordinance, and that at such time and place all persons who desired had an opportunity to be heard in favor of or in opposition to such ordinance. That this ordinance is adopted under the authority of Section 11-52-85 of the Code of Alabama 1975 as amended, and is contingent on the petitioner completing the process to annex property described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B into the City of Prattville no later than 180 days following adoption of the ordinance. All other items and provisions of the zoning ordinance of the City of Prattville not herein specifically amended shall remain in full force and effect. The amendments herein contained were considered and approved by the City of Prattville Planning Commission on December 15, 2016. This ordinance shall become effective upon its passage and execution as provided by law. So moved, Mr. President.
As a matter, Chair will entertain a motion for a second.
Second.
We have a second to this. This ordinance will be held until after the public hearing on the 21st day of February 2017. At this time, that concludes our agenda for this evening. Chair will entertain comments from anyone present. Hearing none. Tonight we have an opportunity to discuss an economic development project in executive session. Chair will entertain a motion that we go into executive session.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. I anticipate that the executive session will last about 40 minutes and do not anticipate any activity other than adjournment after we return. We are in recess.